Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions, and it is my pleasure to have with me Jeanetta Bryant with Abilities Workshop. Welcome, Jeanetta.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, Jeanetta, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm Jeanetta Bryant, and I am the founder and CEO of Abilities Workshop. And Abilities Workshop is a nonprofit helping parents, pastors, and teachers get the resources they need for special needs kids to be their best. That's as short as I can make it.
Okay, that's okay. So that is really good. And it's so funny because my first guest, we were just talking about that. She's working with she has a couple of nephews, and we were talking about how there's so many different resources available for ones that need a little bit of extra.
That's right.
And so for you to provide that, that's great. So what type of services?
So we don't actually provide the services.
Okay.
We're more like the switchboard operator.
So you're the connector.
That's right.
Okay.
So it can be overwhelming to try to find your path forward.
Yes.
And it can be overwhelming by not having enough options and by having too many.
Right.
And so trying to help parents understand exactly what it is that they need to do along the way.
Right.
And cultivating their path is important. I'm a big fan. The reason that I say we help parents, pastors, and teachers is I'm a fan of the three-legged stool, right? Mm-hmm. You need parents to be fighting for these kids. You need teachers to be able to understand them. And you need faith communities to come along and support them.
Right.
And if you have all three, then you get to have a kid really shine and be successful and be their best self. But without one of those elements, you don't get all the goodie out of what that child can offer.
Right. And so let me ask you something. If a parent came in and they have a child and they're looking for, services, do you sit down with them to understand their need and then make the resource, or do you just provide them the resources?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So we're all kinds of unique, right?
Okay.
So somebody can call us and they can be upset that they can't find something, and we can really just be a soft place for them to land and validate their feelings and tell them all the we understand moments, because all of us in the office have some personal story as well. We can also be like, oh, here's a kit, because we do workshops for parents. And so whether it is a newly diagnosed child, here are all the things you need to know for them, to a child that is transitioning into adulthood. Mm-hmm. Whole new set of mountains that you got to be able to navigate when you're saying, okay, you're done with high school. You can't just sit on my couch the rest of your life. What do you do with government benefits? Where are they going to live? How are they going to get around? And so, we work on all these different programs to try to help fill those gaps. But we also just know a lot of people in the community, and that helps. We don't only know people in our geographical little 4-mile area.
Right.
We know people all over the country and all around the world. And so it's really nice when somebody calls and say, I can't find this. And we say,
and you're able to make the connection.
Here's where you need to go. This is probably the next step for you.
Okay. And so what got you started with this?
So my daughter is 12. Her name is Lindsay. And Lindsay, when she was first diagnosed, she was diagnosed with autism, ADD, ADHD, hypotonia, expressive language disorder, regressive language disorder. And she came with a host of nevers. She's never going to be able to speak again. She's never going to be able to have social or academic gains. She's never, never, never. And Lindsay has gone on to defy the odds on that. Lindsay does talk, and she dances hip hop, and she's done soccer. And for a girl that was never supposed to speak again, I find myself telling her in the kitchen to hush an awful lot. And so I felt like it was necessary, not only self-diagnosed OCD brain here, on saying we need to make this easier.
Right. Because too many times they don't, or you just get to the wrong place, or the person don't know enough, and
That's right.
or they have limited abilities, and so they think, okay, this is a never, right?
Right. They think that, and you can't put limits on our kids.
Right.
Our kids will go on to shatter limits left and right if you give them a little bit of help. But parents don't know where to go, and if we can organize that to help them, as you could tell already, I'm not real shy, and so I would talk to parents in waiting rooms, and I would try to figure out what I needed to do for my daughter, but not everybody feels that comfortable.
Right.
And so we got to be able to pay it forward for the families that do want to have social time in waiting rooms, and the ones that are a little bit more private and reserved about it. We want to give them tools so that their kids can be just as successful and have their optimal life and all these wonderful things, but they get to shine too.
Oh my goodness. I applaud all the work you've done.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I'm so happy for you and your daughter. So that, that she got over those never, never, nevers.
Yeah, we still got work to do.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
No,
but
I'm not saying you're there, but at least, she's just overcoming.
Right. I feel like there's going to be a day, I always refer to this as the Pretty Woman moment.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us that know the movie Pretty Woman,
mm-hmm.
and Julia Roberts walks into the room and she's got all these bags and she says, big mistake, big, huge.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one day Lindsay will see that developmental pediatrician and look at them and just be like, You got it wrong.
Yeah. Isn't that
Big
great?
mistake. You know, our kids, they're pretty special. So it's not where I expected to be in career and in life, but it's exactly where I'm supposed to be.
I was going to say where you need to be. You're needed there. So if someone, wants to learn more about the workshops, if they're a parent in need or a teacher or, a faith-based professional,
absolutely.
How do they reach out to you?
So our website provides a whole lot of information. It's abilitiesworkshop.com. That's plural, so it's a lot of I's and abilities, abilitiesworkshop.com. And what's beautiful about it is we used to get everybody together just in person. And now we do in-person events, we do things online, we do things on podcasts, we do things in a plethora of different means. But for the families that can't leave the house or need to study something at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can do a workshop at 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll mail you your workbooks and you'll have it online, and life is good for those folks, especially if they're in more rural areas and they can't get around to things. I mean, I was doing things at 2 o'clock in the morning. I imagine other special needs families are doing that too.
You have to do it when you have time, right? When you can.
When you carve it out.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're needed.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today to learning more about Jeanetta Bryant and the Abilities Workshop. And to learn even more, please go to abilitiesworkshop.com, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.